Although Rosalind Franklin is not well known, she made many uncredited discoveries and contributions to science. This quote is a great description of Rosalind's life. There was probably no other woman scientist with as much controversy surrounding her life and work as Rosalind Franklin. As a scientist, Miss Franklin was distinguished by extreme clarity and perfection in everything she undertook. Franklin was born into a Jewish family in London, England on July 25, 1920. From early childhood, she showed extraordinary intelligence. At the young age of 15, Franklin knew she wanted to be a scientist. Throughout her life, the work she contributed to the structure of DNA was extraordinary. At Cambridge, she learned crystallography and X-ray diffraction and was able to apply the techniques she learned to her research in DNA structure later on. Franklin excelled and earned a PhD in physical chemistry. In 1941, she was awarded second-class honors in her finals, which was accepted as a bachelor's degree in qualifications for employment. Later that year, she graduated and moved on to a new stage of her life. After graduation, she was awarded with a research scholarship for graduate work. She proceeded to spend a year's worth of work in R.G.W. Norrish's lab with little success. Norrish recognized her potential, but was not very encouraging towards female students. Franklin was then offered a more rewarding position at a center. Franklin accepted the position as an assistant research officer at the British Coal Utilization Research Association. Franklin researched the porosity of coal and studied carbon and graphite microstructures. During her research, she was able to create the basis of her 1945 PhD thesis along with the basis of her doctorate in physical chemistry. In 1947, Rosalind accepted a position in Paris with Jacques Mering, a crystallographer. There she learned X-ray diffraction, which helped her with the discovery of the structure of DNA. She then pioneered the use of X-ray to make photos of crystallized solids and analyzing complex, instead of just single crystals. Rosalind also discovered that when you heat carbons with different origin to a temperature as high as 3,000 degrees Celsius, graphitized carbons and non-graphitized carbons will form two distinct classes. Her results revealed that the non-graphitized carbons are showed by a rigid, porous mass. In November of 1950, Randall wrote a letter to Franklin requesting that she and Raymond Gosling would be the exclusive employees to conduct research on crystallographic studies of DNA at King's College in London. At Randall's lab, she continued to work on Maurice Wilkins' DNA project that hadn't been worked on for months. When Wilkins came back, she incorrectly assumed that Franklin was his technical assistant. Their relationship didn't start well and was never improved from then on. Within 1951 and 1953, Rosalind became extremely close to solving DNA structure, but was beat to publication by Crick and Watson. Franklin discovered that her X-ray diffraction displayed the wet form of DNA and had all the characteristics of a helix. She inferred that all DNA was helical. By wet, she meant the form of higher humidity. Instead of immediately publishing her work, she decided to wait in order to confirm that her results were correct. Therefore, Wilkins became frustrated and showed Rosalind's work to the Watson in January of 1953 without the permission of Rosalind. After seeing the photo, Watson quickly found the solution. Almost immediately, Watson submitted his results into Nature. Watson and Crick went on to win a Nobel Prize for the double helix in 1962. Although she would have likely gotten the Nobel Prize as well, she wasn't eligible because she had already passed away before it was awarded. Rosalind's work is often overlooked due to the fact that she did not earn a Nobel Prize. It is still debated to this day as to whether Rosalind Franklin received full credit for her discoveries. In 1953, she moved to J.D. Bernal's lab at Birkbeck College after he said that her X-ray photos were some of the most beautiful he had ever seen. At Birkbeck, she worked on the tobacco mosaic virus and the polio virus. In 5 years, Franklin wrote 17 papers on viruses, and she and her group created the foundations for structural virology. Despite the treatment, she relentlessly continued to work for the next 2 years. In the fall of 1956, Franklin was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Rosalind was able to continue working even after the harsh treatment she had, including 3 operations and experimental chemotherapy, followed by a 10-month remission. Franklin was so eager to make contributions to the world of science that she worked until only several weeks before her death. Tragically, she passed away on April 26, 1958, at the extremely young age of 37. Franklin displays her true qualities through the outrageous amount of contributions she was able to make during her short 37 years on Earth. Rosalind Franklin represents many of Garrison Forest's core values, but she perfectly matches one in particular. Rosalind reminds me of the importance of authenticity when someone stole the fame of her DNA discovery, yet she still proceeded to find other ways to contribute to science. Despite the fact that her years of hard work were beaten to publicity, she stayed true to herself and continued to work on other things.